Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am Jeff Malinoff. That is Mark Sousa.
Brought to you by coffee.
Oh, yeah. You had coffee, too, this morning?
I have coffee every day.
I do, too.
If I don't have coffee, I get a headache.
Well, we do have to get up around 5 a.m.
I am an addict.
I wouldn't say I'm an addict. I don't have coffee every day. I'm just saying
Do you get,
I have coffee when I have to get up at 5 a.m. like I do for work.
But when you don't have coffee or, like, a stimulant, like caffeine, do you get, like, grouchy or like
No.
anything?
Not really.
Sometimes I get a headache, but sometimes I just get hangry, you know.
Just eat then.
But then I still get angry because I haven't had caffeine, so I get cangry.
You might need to see somebody because that's not good.
Have you ever seen the movie Bright?
Bright? Just
the Netflix movie with Will Smith last year, the one where there's orcs and elves and they're like all living together.
No idea what you're talking about.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think
Mm-hmm.
you would like this movie because you kind of like that fantasy type stuff, right?
Well, comics, but not really. Yeah, well, it depends on what kind of fantasies you're talking about.
All right. Well, why'd you got to make it weird?
No, I'm
Why'd
like,
you gotta
what
get
kind of mythical stuff were you talking? That was what I was talking about. Like,
Bright is
like,
the movie, the Netflix original movie, like the original Netflix original.
What I was meaning was I love like mythological stuff.
Will Smith, he's a police officer and his partner's an orc.
Yeah, I'm more into like the Greek mythology stuff, like gods and goddesses.
I was just wondering if you saw it because I watched it last night for the first time, even though it's been out for like a year, and it's pretty good. I would suggest it.
I see. Okay. Well, we got Wild Card Weekend to talk about, my
and
friends.
caffeine. So caffeine and cool movies on Netflix.
What about Wild Card Weekend? Can we talk about Wild Card Weekend now?
I think Wild Card Weekend is slightly more interesting.
Good, because we have
So why don't we
4
talk
games.
about it? So let's go. Let's go Saturday. Let's go Saturday right away.
All right, I'll let you lead. What game we got first?
We have the Indianapolis Colts. They will travel to Houston to play their division rival, AFC South rival, the Houston Texans. What a way to get the weekend started, right? Like, what a game, what a matchup, a division rivalry to get the weekend started, Jeff. Are you excited? Because I'm honestly, this might be my favorite matchup of the weekend, if I'm being completely honest.
It's mine, too.
I know that the teams aren't. I know it's not the Cowboys, Seattle. I think that's probably the sexy game of the week. Like, people are going to be more in tune with that.
Really?
Well, Dallas.
I guess.
Seattle's been a team that's been relevant for the last decade. They've won a Super Bowl. They've been close numerous times. The Cowboys are always the popular team, right? So, Eagles-Bears is popular. Chargers-Ravens, I don't know. I don't know if that one's so popular, although that game is cool. Let's talk about Colts-Texans, man. You want to go with
the two best teams in the...
why don't we break down the teams? Let's break down the teams.
Okay, well, one is the Texans, and the other is the Colts.
Which team has the better quarterback?
Oh, good question.
That is actually a really good question.
That is a really good question. I'm gonna have to say
Gun to your head, which team?
Andrew Luck. I gotta go with Andrew Luck.
God, but you can see Deshaun like.
I know I can't, but I gotta go with the more of the better.
Doesn't it feel like whatever answer you say, you actually immediately regret it?
Yeah,
you're like Andrew Luck. No, Deshaun. No, Andrew
I
Luck.
gotta say Andrew. I gotta keep Andrew Luck on my best quarterback list.
It's so close. It's like you'd want either one, right? You'd want either one on your team. Like they're that good. Okay, I think I agree. But again, it's so close that I'm going to say a wash. Like, whatever. Slight edge to the Colts. Running back. Lamar Miller, Marlon Mack. Lamar Miller, Marlon
I
Mack.
got to go Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack, yeah. I think Marlon Mack has been one of the revelations this year, especially for the Colts. Good little player.
Yeah.
How about wide receivers, though, man? This is a tough one. And let's include tight ends in it, too. So, T.Y. Hilton, Eric Ebron. The Colts have a number of other receivers, Pascal, Chester Rogers. Mm-hmm. They just have a bunch of guys that are just guys, right? Like other than T.Y. Hilton and Eric Ebron.
Yeah.
All right, so on the other side, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
Now we know Marius Thomas is out for the year, unfortunately. Kiki QT is a good receiver for the
I love that name.
It's hard to say, though. Kiki QT. Jordan Thomas is their impressive tight end who's come on strong the last part of the season or so. Who do you give the edge to here in terms of receivers? Of course, DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins by himself, by far.
So you would take him. You would take the Texans.
I would take one wide receiver over the entire core of the Colts.
I think it's closer than you're giving them credit for, but I do agree. DeAndre Hopkins is, in my opinion, the best receiver in football.
There's DeAndre Hopkins, and then there's everyone else in this game.
I can get on board with that. How about offensive line? Which team has the edge?
Oh, Colts.
Colts. Yeah, big time.
They would allow 7 sacks this
How about
season?
defensive line?
Oh, I got to go with Texans.
Clowney, J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt, yeah.
Might be the best D-line in football, or at least the most.
Arguably.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams have something to say about that, but at least on the AFC side.
Darnold, my man. Donald
and Sue.
by himself
yeah.
is a monster.
And even the Bears with Khalil Mack, Akeem
Khalil
Hicks.
Mack's not on the line. He's more of a linebacker.
Yeah, but I mean, he's an edge rusher.
Yeah, true.
He might be called a linebacker, but he's a pass rusher. So
yeah, of course.
Hey, I got to go the edge for sure to the Texans. But what about linebackers? Colts, I think.
Colts, because they have the leading
rookie.
tackler. Their leading tackler is the leading tackler in football, and that's their linebacker.
He's a playmaker, too. Other than tackles, he does create turnovers, sacks. Good little player, Darius Leonard. Secondary. Now, this one for me is the hardest to figure out. I really don't know.
They don't have their secondaries aren't like that's what everyone looks at.
I think that's where my key is, though, for this game. Like, my key when I look at it is which secondary makes the play to stop Luck or Watson. Like, there's going to be a critical play in this game where either they get a pick or they stop them on, like, a crucial fourth down, or like maybe a DB bats the ball away or something like that. Does enough to, like, get in the way of Hopkins or T.Y. Hilton or something like that. That's a toss-up for me. I don't know, and that's
I'm looking
where
at these lineups, and they're so even when it comes to corners because now there's not one like this is the guy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, can you think of the Honey Badger as like he's just a player? He's not like that's
he's
the
decent.
best.
Kareem Jackson, I think, is the best corner for Houston. He's really good.
Yes, he is.
We'll see if they have him lining up on T.Y. or not, but still, I think T.Y. is T.Y. Hilton might be the most underrated wide receiver, huh?
Yes,
he's
absolutely.
one of them. He's one of them
because he's top 10 for sure.
Top 10, I don't know. Maybe it's close, but he's certainly a guy that doesn't get enough respect. I think we could both agree on that.
He is a reason one of the Colts are where they are right now. He's one of the main
Special
reasons.
teams, Fairbairn, the kicker for the Texans, has been great all year. Vinatieri, we don't really need to talk about him. Everybody knows how good Vinatieri is when it counts.
Yeah.
I don't really see too many edges either way here, right? Like, I don't see the Colts having the big edge or the Texans. I see a slight edge here for one team, a slight edge there for the other team. With that being said, Jeff, the Texans are at home.
Yes.
Home field advantage makes a difference.
Yes.
What kind of game do you see? What kind of score are you predicting in terms of the Colts versus the Texans?
Well, honestly, the Texans are just the better team. So give me it sounds like this game's gonna be a blowout, but it's kind of different. But give me 34-20. But it's just because they're gonna try to like score the Colts are, and there's gonna be like a return for a touchdown from the Texans. That's kind of what I'm figuring out.
Gotcha. So
I don't
the
see,
Colts will be desperate, and then
Yeah.
maybe Andrew Luck could throw like a bad pick six or something like that.
Exactly,
Like
which
under
he
pressure.
has been prone to do.
Yeah, he is a guy who takes chances. Especially when the game's on the line, he's
Yeah.
not afraid to kind of maybe throw a pick, like see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I hate though? No, not to derail from the subject. Give me the quarterback that throws that pick trying to make that first down to try to win the
Oh,
game.
I am 100%
rather than the
agreeing
guy
with you.
who throws the ball away.
I don't want it. I
hate that.
don't want Mr. Checkdown.
Is there
Mr.
anything worse
Try
though
it.
than a quarterback who throws the ball out of the end zone on like a 4th down play to win the game, or throws it out of bounds,
You
like
just
doesn't
need-
give your team a chance?
No, when a quarterback throws the ball away when it's like a 3rd down or 4th down, it's my biggest pet peeve. I'm like, what do you? Just throw it. Just throw it to somebody, anybody.
Well, what if it's a 3rd down, but you don't want to give a pick so you can get like at least field goal?
Well,
Or a punt.
I'm not saying throwing a triple coverage, but like
Take a risk or take a little bit more of a
don't
chance.
be Mr. Checkdown. I cannot stand check down quarterbacks.
All right, so I got the Colts winning this game in an upset. I think we're going to see a common theme with my picks. I got the Colts winning. I think that they would win on a neutral field and if they were at home, and I do take into account the home field advantage going against them. There's something about this game. I think Andrew Luck can lead his team to a win, although both teams, man, have been so good the second half of the year. Neither one of these teams limped in. Like, they both took the bull by the horns. And with that being said, I like the Colts
They
to
both
win.
surprised a lot of people, especially the Texans.
They
because
both started off slow.
Texans were 0-4, 0-3.
And the Colts were 1-5 and finished 10-6. Like,
They
they both were terrible.
They
had
got the
terrible
job
starts.
done when they needed to.
I got the Colts 30-27, but I think that we will see that this game might be the most exciting, maybe the highest scoring game. Would you agree with that?
Uh-huh.
All right, why don't we move on?
All right, what do we got next on the agenda?
So Saturday night, the Fox primetime game. Saturday night, Saturday evening, depending on where you live. But the Seattle Seahawks, Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, and the boys from Seattle will travel to Dallas. Will travel to Texas. They will face the NFC East Division champions, the Dallas Cowboys, led by Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and, of course, that stellar defense. So let's break down the teams, Jeff. Let's go quarterbacks. Who has the edge between the Seahawks and the Cowboys in terms of quarterback? Dak versus Russell.
Yeah, I got to go Russell on this one.
Pretty easy, huh?
Yeah.
Running back. Chris Carson versus Ezekiel Elliott.
Give me Ezekiel Elliott.
It is interesting, though, that the Seahawks do use multiple running backs, and they like to run the ball. So even though Elliott might be better than Carson,
He's probably better than everyone.
would you be surprised, though, if the Seahawks actually run for more yards than the Cowboys in this game? Because the Seahawks really like to run the ball.
I do, but I think if anyone's going to have a breakout game when it comes to running back
Elliott.
position, Elliott's still the guy.
Elliott, yeah, he could have the game where it's like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for sure. Carson's underrated, though, huh?
Oh, very underrated.
Like he's
reliable.
He's like kind of a workhorse back that really doesn't get talked about too much.
He's very reliable.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go to receivers. Cowboys have Amari Cooper, of course. The trade, since they made the trade for Amari Cooper, this offense has been completely different. I mean, what was it, 5-6-1 since Amari Cooper? They've been completely different on offense with Amari Cooper.
5-6-1.
5 or 6.
Oh,
and
okay.
1.
I was
they've
like,
won-
did I miss a tie in this?
I can't remember which week he got traded, but they went on a tear since they got Amari Cooper.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And he had a couple huge games.
I believe they
huge
have only
games.
lost one time.
Yes. So, Amari Cooper, Alan Hearns, Michael Gallup, Blake Jarwin has been their tight end since Jeff Swaim was injured and out for the season. For Seattle, Doug Baldwin, kind of a rough year, but maybe he's starting to figure it out. He's come on a little bit stronger lately. Mm-hmm. You know, we knew he was hurt coming into the season. Tyler Lockett, you want to know an incredible stat?
Go.
Russell Wilson throwing.
I don't believe it.
Russell Wilson throwing the ball to Tyler Lockett this year, it has a perfect quarterback rating. Has never been intercepted and has like 8 touchdown passes to him. Perfect quarterback rating. Is that crazy or what?
Can I call something? That's going to end on Saturday.
It might. Tyler
No,
Lockett,
it's going to.
Tyler Lockett, Doug Baldwin, David Moore. You know, the Seahawks, they've been doing this thing for a while where they have a bunch of receivers, and I swear one of these guys always has a big game, you know? Who is that player who had a big game against the Patriots in the Super Bowl where he made like that one-handed catch down the sideline and he made another big catch and it was like some random
You
player.
know who it is.
No, I don't.
Wait, really? The Seahawks?
It was a Seahawks player. He's not.
Pretty sure it was Tate.
No. It was someone. Ricardo Lockett. or no, not Ricardo. Not Ricardo. Tyler Lockett, obviously. Ricardo. It was a Kaepernick's friend. Ricardo.
Pretty sure it was.
No. Trust me on this.
I'll look it up. Super Bowl 49.
Anyways, who do you give the edge to in the receiving department?
How Amari Cooper's been playing, I gotta go with the Cowboys.
It will be interesting to see how the Seahawks' undersized receivers do against the Cowboys' defensive backs who are very physical, and they like to play press man. I got to give it to the Cowboys because of Amari Cooper, the slight edge for sure. What about offensive line? Offensive line between Seattle and Dallas.
I think I got to go Dallas.
Dallas for sure, but they're not as strong as they have been, huh? Like that offensive line a couple years ago was easily the best in the league. If not one, there were two. Now they're kind of like, eh. But they're better because Seattle, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Okay. What about defensive line? Cowboys.
Cowboys, yeah.
What about linebackers? That's where it gets interesting. Bobby Wagner for Seattle, but Leighton Vander Esch for the Cowboys.
Can I just say even?
I'd say it's a tie. KJ Wright for the Seahawks. I'd say that might be their best position for both teams, honestly. All right, what about defensive backs?
Dallas
defensive backs have been pretty good this year.
I might have to go Seattle though.
It's close. It's very even.
Jermaine Kearse. That's the guy.
No. That's not who I'm talking about.
The guy that made the catch in Super Bowl?
I know who Jermaine Kearse is, and I know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the guy who made like that one-handed catch down the sideline at the end of the game that got them to near the 1 yard line.
That was Jermaine Kearse. Mm-mm. They got him to the 1 yard line because they were at the goal line, and then they ran the ball at the one with Marshawn. I guarantee you it was Jermaine Kearse.
That's not the receiver that I'm talking about. I'll go back and look at the box score of that game, and I'll let you know who it is. I know who Jermaine Kearse is, and I know Golden Tate as well, but it was a random player. Very random player. Anyways, specialists. Janikowski for the Cowboys. Who's their kicker now?
I have zero clue.
Because they released.
I know. That's why
it is the Cowboys. I mean, obviously, I think they don't have the edge there, right? If we don't even know. So it was Brett Maher. It's Brett Maher. That's right.
Yeah, just everyone knows him.
I should have known that. That's a total brain fart for me. Either way, though, he's actually been pretty good. Janikowski's missed a couple of kicks this year. I think it's fairly even, though. I don't know if I can give the edge. Maurer's never kicked in a big game. Janikowski has. We'll see. Who do you think, though? I guess we should just give our picks.
Okay.
Who do you like in this game? Tell me your score and tell me why.
Give me the Cowboys 27-21.
27-21?
Yeah.
And what do you see happening in this game?
I see Zeke taking it over.
Zeke taking it over? Okay, so 27-21, do you think it'll be like a comeback win, or do you think it'll be something like the Cowboys take control? And
Cowboys take control, hold on to control. Seahawks don't get one lead this game.
Not one.
Call me crazy.
You know what, man? It's an interesting game. But for me, I feel like Seattle will put the ball in Dak's hands and make him be the guy to beat him and not Elliott. I think they will stack the box. I don't think I can trust him over Russell Wilson. Seattle has won 7 straight games in the playoffs to start the playoffs. Their opening game in the playoffs, they've won it 7 straight times. I think the Cowboys are better, but, man, I can't ignore what Russell Wilson can do. He's a magician sometimes, and he can just give defenses fits. I like them to just do enough. I think they win 24-20. Tough game, close game. I think the Cowboys will have a chance to win this game. Dak Prescott will have a chance to come from behind and win this game, take his team down the field, and I think they'll come up just a little bit short. So, anyways, I think we need to go to a break. But before we do that, and before we preview Sunday's Wild Card Weekend, what would it look like if we all just, I don't know, listen more? Listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, and even brings us closer together. And there's no better place to do that than with Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet. And now, Audible members get more than ever before. Each month, you get 3 titles of your choice. 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals and fitness programs that you can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. Try it for free today. Free for 30 days by visiting audible.com/GSMCbook or by texting GSMC book to 500. Do that today to start your 30-day free trial.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington Target.
Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC Football Podcast. We just finished talking about the Saturday games for Wildcard Weekend. Now let's go on to Sunday games. What do we have in store for us, Mark?
Los Angeles Chargers will travel out east and play the Baltimore Ravens, who won the AFC North. The Chargers, of course, a wild card team, even though they went 12-4. So, in fact, they are 12-4 and have the better record in this matchup, but they will travel to the East Coast and play the Ravens on the road. Interesting game. Interesting style of play difference between the two teams. You have Lamar Jackson and that ball control offense likes to run. On the other side of the ball, Phillip Rivers, he's always been more of a gunslinging type of player.
Could have won MVP this year if it wasn't for two others.
Maybe he will. We still don't know yet.
I
right?
don't think he's going to. I love the guy. I thought he had a great season, but there's two others that did much better.
Mm-hmm.
Especially one that scored over 50 touchdowns.
I think Mahomes is the odds-on favorite at this point.
I'm sorry. When you do 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards, I think you're entitled to it.
Mm-hmm. So, the Chargers, though, they will feel a little bit hard on their luck considering they have to go on the road, although winning 12 games this year. Usually if you win 12 games, you probably get a first-round bye and home games, but you don't get either this time around for the Los Angeles Chargers. Quarterback.
What a time to go 12-4 when your another division rival goes 12-4.
Unfortunate, yeah. Quarterback, do you give the edge to Rivers or Lamar Jackson?
Oh, is that a question? Phillip Rivers.
I mean, it is a question because Lamar Jackson's been hard to stop.
I know, but I'm still going Phillip Rivers. I'm going with old reliable.
How about running back?
Melvin Gordon.
Over Gus Edwards, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, are you going to question that?
Wide receivers. Chargers. Keenan Allen. Mike Williams.
Yeah.
The other side is Michael Crabtree, John Brown, Willie Snead.
It's kind of even until
the Ravens use their tight ends a lot, though, which needs to be pointed out. They usually have 2 to 3 tight ends on the field at one time. They actually run more tight end plays than anybody else, and it makes sense with the ball control offense.
I'll pick the Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Offensive line. Let's say the Ravens.
Yeah, I would say the Ravens, too.
Defensive line.
Chargers.
It's close. Yeah, I'll say. Linebackers.
Got to give the edge to the Ravens.
I'll agree with that. Defensive backs. Ravens.
Yeah.
Although Derwin James is a really good player.
That's why I went thinking about it.
And Derwin James will cover tight ends very well, and that's where the Ravens like to go with their passing offense, is through the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this game will be the lowest scoring game of the weekend?
Probably.
Think so?
Yeah. No, I can't say yes or no to that.
You actually have your score down as pretty high.
Yeah, I that's why I was debating this. Give me a 31-23 victory for the Chargers.
The Chargers. I like the Chargers, too. The Ravens, they're favored. Again, it's one of those games where the home team is favored by just a couple points, which signals that on a neutral field, maybe the away team in these games would actually be the favorite. Again, the Texans are a 1.5-point favorite. The Cowboys are a 2-point favorite. The Ravens are a 2.5-point favorite over the Chargers. The Chargers are on the road, but they are 8-0 on the road. They're actually better on the road than they are at home. They're 4-4 at home. They don't really have much of a home field advantage. So
well, they don't have a home. Yeah, I was about to say.
Seems like they're always playing on the road.
They don't have a necessary home field advantage. So yeah, definitely give me the Chargers. Away is just they have an advantage away because they play away 17 games a year. It's 18,
I think it's a bad matchup for the Ravens. I think they could win these games, but it's tough when you're playing such a well-rounded team in the Chargers. The Chargers are arguably the most well-rounded team in the entire tournament, wouldn't you say?
Tournament?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. We'll use tournament. Yeah, I would agree.
It's a tournament. You can call it playoffs, but it's still a tournament.
Just sounds weird when you say
in the tourney. They might be the most complete team.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
arguable because they're good at every level, every position. They're good. They don't really have like a weakness.
I agree.
Where I can see some teams having weaknesses, glaring weaknesses in certain areas.
Oh yeah,
but I like that defensive line, especially Joey Bosa stopping Lamar Jackson. It will be interesting to see if the Ravens open up that offense. So I wonder. That's the one thing I do wonder is if the Ravens kind of have a surprise for the Chargers, where maybe they run some play action. They try and hit them on the deep pass a couple times, Like, maybe they really show that they can do more with their offense than what they've shown in the last few weeks since Lamar Jackson has taken over. So I do have a worry. But I do like the Chargers to win 24-21. I don't think it'll be as high scoring as what you're predicting. I think it'll be a little bit tougher for both teams to score.
Playoffs surprise you.
They do. Anything can happen, especially in a winner-go-home scenario. So, all right, why don't we move on to – that was the first one that we picked the same. It might be the only one where we picked the same. Eagles and Bears. Philadelphia Eagles, they somehow, some way get in the playoffs. Nick Foles leads that team. They had an impressive 3-game run to win out. And they get the last wildcard spot. They will face the surprising NFC North champions, the Chicago Bears. Well, I mean, before the season, the Bears were probably the third or fourth most likely picked team to win their division.
I understand that, but once the season got started, it felt like it was all...
Yeah, just surprising that they won the division this year, and Minnesota and Green Bay are not in the playoffs. Like that's kind of weird. I like the Bears coming into this year, but you got to admit, an Aaron Rodgers team not in the playoffs and a Vikings team that was so good last year, adding Kirk Cousins not in the playoffs is kind of weird. Like that's like, how did that happen?
It did feel like we got what Kirk Cousins kind of showed his true colors this season, though.
Very disappointing for Vikings and their fans for sure.
They thought it would put him on the top, but honestly, it looked like they made him weaker.
So let's look at the two teams here. What do you like about the Bears, and what do you like about the Eagles?
Well, I like the Eagles because their tenacity, and of course Nick Foles is doing it again. And I have a sticking suspicion it's going to happen again. I have a gut feeling that he might repeat history and then become this all-time starting quarterback for the Eagles. I'm not kidding.
The all-time great?
I just
the permanent. He won
the permanent.
Oh, you mean the future quarterback? Of the Eagles. Okay, I was going to say, when you said all-time greatest quarterback in Eagles history, I mean, he might be because he won a Super Bowl and was the MVP.
Touche. I wasn't even thinking about that. You got a point there.
I get it. They have had other good players.
They haven't gotten a quarterback to get him over that hump before.
They've had McNabb, Cunningham, Jaworski, but none of those guys won.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, we'll get on that later. But I do have to say Nick Foles is the key factor, and then it's Khalil Mack. That's even a bigger key factor. But I got to go with my gut. I got to go with who I think is the better team, and that is the Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
Are you worried about their rookie quarterback and maybe some of the inexperience that their players have going into this game?
I
Is
think
that where you a
the
little bit?
inexperience might be benefactor in a way where it's like this team doesn't have to, like, this team's just like, we got to play the way we've been playing. We've never been here before. Let's get as far as we can. Let's do this. Let's do what we've been doing.
On the flip side of that, do you think the Eagles, having been there before, pretty much every player on their team has participated either on their team last year or in big-time playoffs? Like even Michael Bennett, who's new to the team, knows exactly what it's like in the playoffs.
But I do have to say, this is not the same team.
It is not the same team. However, this team we've seen in the last 3 weeks, they wrecked the Rams, they smacked the Texans, and they destroyed the Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty impressive run to get into the playoffs. Though.
I do have to say that playoffs and regular season are two very different things.
Right. But wouldn't that argument or that point kind of be a point that you'd make for the Eagles since they've been there before and they can turn on that switch when it counts?
Maybe.
We don't know how the Bears are going to react. You're not worried
at all,
though?
That's the unpredictability of the Bears.
But are you worried that they might put up a dud on offense? We know their defense is going to be good, but what if they score like 10 points? Would that shock you? Like if they don't really...
See, I don't know if that would shock
You remember
me.
how the Rams... I know this is a different team, but remember how good the Rams offense was even last year, and then they got to the playoffs and they put up like 10 points against the Falcons? Like,
yeah, but their defense wasn't as positive as it is now. They're still...
But honestly, I mean, they lost...
honestly, the Rams defense isn't as good as everyone says it is.
But my point here is not about the Rams. My point is that the Rams had never been to the playoffs before, and then it was like everything changed. Like it was like they couldn't do what they were doing on offense any further.
Do you remember what our friend said, our boss said? Defense and running game wins championships.
Mm-hmm.
Bears have that defense, and if Jordan Howard is on, then it's over.
He's had a tough season.
And guess what the Eagles don't have? A running game.
Yeah, they've been better lately. Since
Not
Foles
as,
took over.
I'm still going to go.
That's the thing, though. We have to look at the Eagles differently since Foles took over because that offense has completely changed. They've gone to a different style of offense, the one that we saw them win the Super Bowl with. So there is a difference there. So you like the Bears. What score do you like in this game?
It's going to be low scoring, the lowest scoring. Give me 17-10.
17-10. Okay, so you kind of think that the Bears' offense really won't be that good. It's just going to be more about their defense being able to just stalemate that offense. Okay. I think the Bears' defense is really good. I think it's going to be so tough for the Eagles to score in this game, but I think that they come out with a win. I know that they're not the better team in this, but I think they have the mental edge. And the fact that Doug Peterson and Matt Nagy know each other so well, but Peterson has been there before, I give the Eagles the edge there. Nick Foles, I think, has all the confidence in the world. I mean, when's the last time the guy lost a football game? It's been a while. Like, he comes in,
Not in my lifetime.
wins.
Kidding.
He just wins. He's riding the highest of highs right now. I think that team knows exactly who they are and exactly what they want to do. And for the Bears, they will for sure give the Eagles trouble. But 19-17, Eagles win. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. They find a way to win, maybe a last-second field goal. Maybe the Bears don't come up big when they need to, but we'll see. Anyways.
Is it just because of Nick Foles? Honestly,
I mean,
honest.
it's because that team is. Look how good they've been playing. Do you remember how good they played against the Rams? We talked about how bad the Eagles' defense is. The Eagles' defense really played well in that game. Eagles' defense shut out the Redskins last week. The Eagles' defense has been better. I think it's just a difference when he is on the field. Everybody seems to kind of figure it out a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I mean they're playing as pretty much as good as anybody right now, which is crazy to think about.
Okay.
And they're the defending champs. So
yeah, okay. Well, we will take a break. Okay. But first, What would it be like if we all listen more? Listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, even brings us closer. There's no better place to listen than Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, and now Audible members get more than ever before. Each month, they get 3 titles of their choice. 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and fitness programs they can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. Try it free for 30 days by visiting audible.com/GSMCbook or by texting the code GSMCbook to 500500. Once again, if you want to try Audible for 30 days for free, visit audible.com/GSMCbook or text in the code GSMCbook to 500500.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington Target Zero.
Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC Football Podcast. We just finished previewing each game for Wild Card Weekend. Now we're moving on. What's the next on our agenda?
So we all know about HBO's The Hard Knocks show that the NFL does every year. Well,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the teams that are possibilities for this offseason have been revealed, and of course, there is a criteria. You can't just be any team in the NFL and be on Hard Knocks. These are the two things that goes into how they pick the team that will be on the show. So the first one is the team that is picked must have not made the playoffs in the last 2 years. Also, a team cannot have a new head coach. A rookie head coach cannot be on the team for that team to be considered.
Wait, can I ask you a question real quick? Is it possible for every team not to that can be in the playoffs the last 2 years?
I mean, I think
there's
12.
There's
6 playoff teams from each conference.
So 12 at least.
Yeah, so there's definitely teams that can't.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious if maybe there's a what if scenario, I guess.
So here are the 5 teams that meet the criteria. Are you ready?
Go.
The San Francisco 49ers, the Oakland Raiders, the New York Football Giants, the Washington Redskins, and the Detroit Lions. So those are the 5 teams that meet the criteria of have not made the playoffs in the last 2 years, don't have a new head coach. Any of these teams to fire their existing coach and hire a new coach before the season starts. So with that being said, which team on this list is the most appealing to you? Which team would you like to see if you had your choice to see on Hard Knocks?
Well, I think we both agree on this fact, but the Oakland Raiders.
Which is funny you said that, because you said the Oakland Raiders, and we don't even know if they'll be the Oakland Raiders anymore. That's part of the reason why they're interesting. That's part of the reason why they're interesting.
And also, this team is just falling apart.
They're going to have a lot of roster movement, a lot of roster turnover. But I think we have to just... I think
we can both agree, though, that this team is not going to be good for the next 4 years.
I mean, who knows? I will never say a team won't be good in the next 4 years.
I think Gruden's on a 5-year plan.
Yeah, but I won't ever say a team won't be good in 4 years. I think like a normal rebuild, you can be good in a year or two. Like 2 years.
All right.
2 years.
All right.
But I see what you're saying. They have a lot of maneuvering they're going to need to do to get back. They lost a lot of talent. They do have a lot of draft picks, which makes it intriguing because... maybe we'll see the 3 first-round picks that they use in Hard Knocks. Also,
and what a bad time to get first-round picks from 2 teams that are in the playoffs.
And also, John Gruden. He's no stranger to the media. He is not somebody who shies away from the camera. He's definitely somebody.
He has his own shows. I mean, he has like quarterback camp.
He is somebody who likes.
That's why he signed Nathan Peterman. He loved him as a quarterback. Was impressed by him. But
the Raiders, I feel like, I think we can agree. They're the most intriguing of the 5 teams, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They also just signed Mike Mayock to be their GM, a guy who just came out of the booth like 5 minutes ago. I mean, he was I
would say 15.
Color commentator in the NFL. He also does the draft for NFL Network every year. He's a guy who's heavily involved in the game, on the field and off the field. Mm-hmm. So he's somebody who's also a TV guy, a voice guy. So, man, it seems like the perfect storm. And, of course, what I mentioned earlier, the fact that they don't know where they're going to be playing next year, I feel like that is incredibly interesting. I would love to see where they play and how that works out. Like, do they stay in Oakland? Do they play in San Diego? Do they play in Reno, Nevada? Do they play in Santa Clara at the 49ers Stadium? Who knows?
I think that's the last possible, that's like last-ditch effort.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I think them playing in Santa Clara is pretty probably the second or third most likely scenario, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Just because it makes the most sense. And I know that egos are in the way, but the NFL can kind of move their weight around on this issue if they need to, so maybe that'll happen. Okay. So which team would you say is the next most interesting team to be put on Hard Knocks between these 5? So you said the Raiders, so the 4 remaining possibilities are 49ers, Giants, Redskins, Lions.
Giants. Just because Barkley and Odell Beckham and the fact that and Eli Manning, if he's going to be there or not, if he's going to stay or he should go, how the players react to him. There's a lot there.
I agree. The Giants, I feel, are interesting as well. You mentioned Eli. If they move on from Eli, they're interesting. If they keep Eli, they're interesting. Odell Beckham is just interesting no matter what. I feel like they could probably do a whole show on him, and he would be interesting.
Yeah.
The Giants have some personalities. Saquon Barkley, being the kid from New York who had a great rookie season, would be interesting to put on camera as well and see what he's like, maybe off the field or, in practice, around the team and things like that.
Mm-hmm. True.
All right, so if the Raiders are 1 and Giants are 2, you have the Niners, Redskins, and the Lions. Who would be your third most interesting follow?
I might have to say the Redskins.
Okay, why is that?
Well, their quarterback situation and the fact they signed Reuben Foster and Adrian Peterson, all these other signings, and the mainly the dislike from fans of their owner, Dan Snyder. There's just a lot of aspects there that can be very interesting.
I feel like the Redskins are the team on this list, though, that can disqualify themselves here in the next couple weeks. Like, they could fire Jay Gruden.
Oh, absolutely. But as of right now, they aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So don't take them out of it yet.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree that they're the third, but I think I might put the 49ers at number 3 just because of Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Garoppolo rehabbing and coming back. George Kittle seems to be a very interesting personality. Him mic'd up is really fun. Like when I watch on NFL Network, he's mic'd up. He's a funny guy. He likes to mix it up. He talks a lot on the field. I feel like he would be a character. They have some interesting players coming back, though. McKinnon as well from injury. And, of course, John Lynch, personable guy. So I would have them at 3, and then I'd have the Redskins at 4, though, like you said. The Redskins being the team that they have some controversial figures on their team. So it would be weird, or not weird, but cool to see, I guess, the inner workings of the Redskins and Jay Gruden. I feel like there might be some dysfunction in that front office, and it might be put on display on Hard Knocks. Sure. Who would be your 4th team if you have the Redskins at 3? You have the Niners and the Lions left.
Give me the Niners at 4, Lions at 5.
Okay. Why would the Lions be the last team?
Besides their coach, there's really nothing interesting about it. There's nothing this is what I want to watch. It's just There's nothing to them.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is, personally.
Yeah, I have the Lions last, but Matt Patricia seems like he could be cool, right? Like he'd be a weirdo.
He'd be a weirdo.
He'd be interesting.
Yeah, sure. Well, just let's go there.
All right, fine. I think you know my answer on this, but if you could pick any team that doesn't fit the criteria to be on Hard Knocks, who would you pick?
Well, I know your pick, so I'll go with someone different. I'll go with the New England Patriots.
The Patriots, okay. So, why would you pick the Patriots?
Well, Belichick
Isn't
and Brady.
Belichick really boring?
Well, they're at the end of their run, and I want to see how that end of the run goes because it looks like it's ending on a sour note to me personally. And the fact that like Kraft and Belichick are at each other's throats.
Do you think Belichick would like be interesting though?
He could be.
Or do you think every time he's on camera?
Well, we don't know because they're never not in the playoffs. So let's actually find out.
Do you think that every time Belichick was on camera, he'd just be like, "We're on to the preseason. We're on to the preseason."
No, I think it'll be a little. Obviously he'll reject.
What about Brady? He seems like he's kind of boring now.
Oh, not really. He kind of trolls people on Instagram, which I think is funny. I think he can be a big troll.
Gronk, I think,
television,
would be interesting to follow.
if he's even there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different aspects to this.
Okay. My pick is the Steelers. I know that you knew that, but how awesome would it be to see the Steelers on Hard Knocks? We're talking about all kinds of drama going on right now. You got Tomlin, you got Antonio Brown, Big Ben, the whole Le'Veon Bell situation. Even if Le'Veon's not even on the team next year, just they will for sure talk about it. James Conner and his ascension to stardom.
We really have no idea what's happening with this team at all.
Yeah, Big Ben. We hear a lot of things about Ben, how he's hard to like play, with on the same team with, and things like that. And Antonio Brown, of course, we hear him being a diva and stuff like that. That team's got to be. I think so many NFL fans, and they're the Steelers. They're already one of the pillars in the NFL. They're already one of the most popular teams.
Well, that pillar looks like it's about to fall down, does it not?
It sure might.
It has a lot of cracks in it.
It sure might. Yes, and them coming off of a season where they just blew it, that adds even more fuel to the fire. I would pick them.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that was I desire.
Oh, my God.
You know that song, right?
Metallica?
Yeah, baby.
All right. Anyways, I think we need to go to a break.
Sure, we can go to break when we return.
And some news and notes around the league. And
News,
also
trips, quips, and whatever else we need to talk about, we will talk about. We will see you at the break. Please don't go away. We need your review. We need your views, so please don't leave us.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
You know what time it is.
No, I don't.
It's the final countdown.
No.
Do-do-do-do.
No.
Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. It's a great song. Anyways, what is last on our list of clips and tips and tricks?
Yeah, so the domestic violence charge against Reuben Foster has been dropped.
Yes,
So
it has.
The Redskins linebacker.
Again, by the way.
The Redskins linebacker can still be suspended by the NFL. He's on the exempt list, so he can't do anything right now. What do you think about the charges being dropped against him again? This is not the first time.
I just don't know what's up with this whole situation. It's hard to, like, what's real, what's fake, you know? You don't know. These charges are dropped. Could it just be a crazy ex-girlfriend? Could it be something else, like paid outside of court, settled outside of court? We really don't know what the situation is. And that's the really scratching the head part.
Do you think that
the
49ers did the right thing by getting rid of him?
I think he was much of a head case, so I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those things where it's just like 3 strikes, you're out. Like this is more than one time you've been busted for domestic violence, and honestly, there's got to be more than one instance in where this is not just fake news. You know what I mean? Just it's got to be real sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how I see it, at least. There's got to be some truth to the stories.
Yeah,
but maybe not. Who knows?
I mean, I think that he gets himself in dumb situations. I don't even think he could argue against that at this point.
It's the same woman, and why would you just keep talking to her? I don't know. There's a lot to avoid. He's easily avoiding situation. He's still getting in trouble. It's too much to me personally.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is the right move.
Yeah, I just don't think that they really could do anything because they already gave him
chance after chance.
Yeah, they gave him a lot of leeway. And
they gave him the benefit of the doubt.
At the end of the day, he messed up again. He was in. Why was this woman in the team hotel when they were on a road game in? And he
paid for her to get there. And supposedly, she said he was already dating someone else at the time of this.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of questionable decisions made if this story is.
I still think that
anyway.
the NFL will probably suspend him to 6 or 8 games from all the accumulated things that he's been a part
I'll say
of.
at least 5.
He's been arrested 4 times in the last year. So
yeah. 4. You arrested 4 times. I'm sorry.
He got arrested on a gun charge. He got arrested on a marijuana charge.
The Niners had to do what they had to do. The Niners had to pull the trigger on releasing him.
I agree, and I don't know what the Redskins are really thinking. But
with the number 2 pick, the 49ers are probably going to get a linebacker that's not in trouble as much as he is, and maybe Josh Allen, if they want a linebacker, that is.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen's more of an edge rusher than a middle linebacker, but that team already
need a pass rusher.
That team has a good middle linebacker that they got in the draft last year, Fred Warner.
Who's been playing extremely well.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's nothing here. All right, so how about DeAndre Hopkins? He is dedicating his game check this weekend to the family of the slain 7-year-old who was shot in a drive-by shooting. How unfortunate, but how cool is that of him to do that?
Obviously, we wish it didn't have to come to a point where we hear about a 7-year-old being shot in a drive-by. That's easily avoidable death right here.
Mm-hmm.
And what a character. What a great, as a person, you're so happy to see a guy do something so unselfish for somebody else. And obviously the money is not going to, make them feel better at all, but it's going to help in one way or another. It shows support, and that's what matters the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, of course, it's sad, but DeAndre Hopkins is just a stand-up guy. And
yeah, he's just a good person.
It's big time. It's big time that he can, I guess, step up for the community like that. All right, so let's move on. Mike Zimmer, he will be heading into 2019, it looks like, without a contract because the general manager and the head coach for the Vikings, they have 1 year left on their deal. Neither one has an extension on the table. Mike Zimmer was asked if he was worried about that, being a lame duck coach, quote unquote, and that's what they call it when you're on the
Did they ask him that question?
And he said he has no problem with it. He said, I'm totally comfortable in that situation. What do you think about that?
That sounds kind of like...
Do you think they should give him an extension, or do you think they should look elsewhere?
That's really hard to say. Can we give him...
He's 62 years old. He's been there for a while, but the team has been good,
I mean,
they
if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing.
They didn't make the playoffs this year. I don't know how much that's going to be, put against him. But
I don't think that was his fault, per se. But I would say the fact that, maybe keep a close eye on him.
All right. Well, that's
because if you do fire him now, there's too many other options of a head coaching position. You might not get who you want.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? There's too many other options and other attractive options.
All right. Well, that's all we got for today.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Please tune us in on Monday as we will recap what has happened this weekend in Wild Card Weekend, as well as on Monday, the National Championship game. Clemson in Alabama. This isn't 2016, and this isn't 2014 or 2015, whatever the years else had happened, but it's going to happen again Monday, January the 7th. We'll see you there. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.